there, boys and girls. I can't believe it's a whole week since I talked to you, and so we're going to read another story today. My name is Sush. I come to you from the Mennonite Heritage Village in Steinbach. I'm going to read a book to you today written by a lady named Marlene Reimer, and she is from the family of Reimers that first made Steinbach in 1874. So that's a very old family. And did you know that when you have a book and you write it, there's a story besides the story? 'Cause I'll show you what I mean. It's very interesting. It says, Goose in Boots. Story by Marlene Reimer. Based on all the times that she was a little girl, these are things that she remembers. And this is what I'm talking about. It says, dedicated to the owner of the Goose, the late Jade Craker. So there's a story even in the story. There's a little goose. I am Molly. I live in a yellow house on the edge of town, under the big prairie sky. I was bored. I had already colored 2 pictures in my coloring book, and I had looked at 3 of my storybooks. It was winter, and it was just too cold to play outside, and I was bored. I decided to go to the little room at the very top of the stairs. And from this window, I could usually look out over our backyard, over the roof of our garage, and way over the flat prairie. But today the glass was covered with frost and ice. I pressed my warm nose against the cold window. A tiny spot of ice melted where my nose was, and I could see a small circle of snow outside. I spread out my fingers and pressed my hand against the ice. Now you could see a little more of the backyard. Something moved down there in the snow. What on earth? I took a deep breath and I blew very hard against the window to clear more of the glass. And I looked out again. It was a goose. Our neighbor's goose had waddled over to our yard and was marching around in our snow. I watched as the goose stretched out his long neck and noisily hissed at the birds eating our breadcrumbs. I watched as the goose angrily flapped his wings at our dog. Then I noticed his orange goose feet, barefoot in the snow. And now I knew why that goose was so cranky. Brr, I always wore nice warm boots to play out in the snow. I think that goose would be a whole lot happier if he had put on winter boots, nice warm feet. What that goose needs is boots, I thought. And I giggled as I imagined the goose strutting around the yard in my very warm boots. And so that is one of the stories that Marlene remembers from growing up. And when she was out, and there was a silly neighbor's goose that came over to visit. And she had fun imagining that he was wearing the boots. Very silly. It was so good to talk to you again, and we will see you again next week when I will read another story from the very same lady. She has a whole lot of books. So we will read some more next week. All right, toodaloo.